Hi, my name is Sarah Garr, and I'm here to give you an overview of the course that I've developed, English 8 for iTunes University, and just to lead you through a few aspects of my course outline. I've organized my course into particular units, and for each aspect of the units, they are connected to a specific prescribed learning outcome from the BC Ministry of Education. So you can either look for particular units and or activities and projects within each unit, or if you're trying to focus on a particular skill relating to reading or writing or oral language, you can look through the prescribed learning outcomes. I start with a writing unit that helps the students really differentiate between the types of writing that they'll need to do throughout the year, both informal and formal writing guidelines. So whether we're doing kind of a formal analysis type of writing, an expository descriptive paragraph, where they need to really think about their audience and purpose, or whether they're writing a poem, as long as they're thinking about the purpose and audience of their piece of writing. And so again, these are skills that they'll be using throughout the year, and so I generally spend kind of once a week rather than doing it as a full unit, but it depends on what works best for your class. I also like to start by really introducing and emphasizing some of the oral language skills they'll need, so that's the second unit. When I do this unit within my class, I actually pair it with the Fairy Tales, Myths, and Legends unit, so that you're not just focusing on public speaking skills in isolation. It's a kind of a nice forum for them to work with familiar fairy tales, but also to continue to work on some of those much needed oral language skills. And again, these are skills that they're going to be using throughout the year, whether it's working with smaller groups or a more formal class presentation. And next I have a short stories unit, and I've included a number of particular short stories. But again, these activities, these assignments would work well with any short fiction piece. And then moving into the class novel study, The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. Within that unit, spend some time looking at the issue of conflict resolution. The novel raises some extremely important issues of gang violence, of mediating conflicts between peers, of family issues, and so even though the novel is set in the 1950s, it's still highly relevant to my students today, and they really enjoy reading the novel as well, and I've included a film version. After the novels unit, there is a poetry unit, and again, just like with the short story and the novel unit, we talk about particular reading strategies that students can apply when they're approaching a poem. We start the unit by talking a little bit about what students' perception of poetry is. I find sometimes they sort of have a misconception or a stereotype of what poetry is, and that sometimes colors how they will approach the unit. And so we talk about how, the music that they listen to every day is a type of poetry, and also trying to kind of lessen the anxiety about how to find some understanding, make some meaning of a poem as well, and also tying in some of the literary elements and devices that they need both for fiction and for prose. After that is the Fairy Tale, Myths, and Legends unit, and again I do this, I pair this with my public speaking unit. We look at what traditional fairy tales are, and also then looking at doing a satire activity with Shrek, where we can kind of look to see how Shrek reverses or flips some of our common perceptions of traditional fairy tales. Students then have an opportunity to choose a fairy tale, myth, or legend from various cultural backgrounds. In BC, we have a First Nations group, and so they can find cultural legends from those, or any really. And one of the activities is then to create an adapted version using Book Creator, where they're recording their voices, and then students can create their books through Apple TV. And again, a very low-risk kind of way of presenting, but still working on pacing and volume and eye contact just within their groups when they're recording their voices, and then able to present using their iPads right from their desks. And so I've attached a portion of my blog where I've written about how that kind of shows itself in a classroom. And then finally ending with a literature circles unit. Again, the purpose is simply to get kids reading more, and so I do provide them quite a bit of class time to read, and then a lot of informal responses, and a very important aspect of that is the student-led discussion groups, where students are working on the ability to interact with their peers, to ask thoughtful, insightful questions, to support and encourage their group members to provide their opinions. And so rather than just a teacher-led discussion where I'm standing at the front of the classroom, I'm really more there as a facilitator, kind of walking around the classroom, helping students if they sort of get stuck. But other than that, it's really them that are initiating and sustaining those discussions. And so again, some of the public speaking skills that we've worked on earlier in the unit are really helpful at this point. I've included a variety of high-interest novels, and again, as I said, my purpose is to simply get the kids to read. And so the idea isn't necessarily that we're providing really challenging reading, although there is a range, but just books that will really sort of draw them in, and activities that really kind of arouse their interest and lead them towards deeper thinking and discussion for their novels. So I've included a variety of resources, everything from apps and websites to YouTube videos to my own kind of Word PDF documents of activities and assignments and rubrics. If you have questions or you would like further information, I do have much more. I've just included a selection for each unit, and so you're welcome to contact me through my email. Or through Twitter, and I would be happy to provide explanations or further information. Thank you.